What we're going to look at now is the arm itself. So we'll go back onto here, we'll get rid of that body because we don't want it, it's in the way, and we'll have a look at the arm. Now where's our arm to there? Let's get rid of some of these. So there's the arm that we've drawn. Okay, now if I go into the sketch mode, it is simply lines which I shall go through now. So we do one line up, a line across, and as I say, you can work out your own measurements. And then we just use the fillet tool on this one to create whatever curve we want there. On this one I do something slightly different, because on this one I use the 3-point arc. And I go from there to the center of this line. And you can put a slight arc in, but it's not going to work out because I haven't done the line long enough. Let me go back up this one and show you on the top one instead. So using that tool, you can put an arc in that fashion, and then you can put the other arc in the other bottom half, which is from there down to there, and I'm doing this very roughly, and you end up with the arc. Okay, and that's the shape, that's the profile that we want. Now you could say, okay, let's use the same technique, so we could highlight all of that. Where am I? If we highlight that and made this into a template, you can't revolve it because you only revolve around one axis. So if I was to sort of do that, and let's suppose I put a shape in like this, I'll just demonstrate it. Let's just, where are we, arm, step, edit. Let's just complete this shape. This is only being done to show you what can't be done. Oops, missed it. Okay, so we've got a shape. Now we're going to look at the revolve, hit on there, and then we're going to pick our axis. Now the only axis we can do is that one. And of course it won't work because this can't revolve around that axis. So we can't use the revolve tool for this technique. Let me get back to where we. So what we've got to do on this one is use a sweep command. Now what that means is creating a circle, which is the diameter of the pipe, and then sweeping it along here. Now some people have difficulty because this is where I find you have to look at the 3D version to draw. Because if you think, I need a circle on this point, but I need the circle at right angles to this line, so that the circle can be swept up the line. So what we're going to do is get rid of this rubbish here as well. A minute. Whoops. And we're going to add now, put our origins back in. We need the shape of the arm is on this plane. We need our circle under there on this bottom plane. Okay, so it's at right angles to the arm. So click on that plane and we'll sketch on it. Now we don't want to sketch down here, we want to sketch by the arm. We can't see the arm, so we've got to go into 3D mode and find the arm. Where's it gone? I've lost it. There it is. And then we can put our circle on there, and I'm going to make it, let's say, 1.5 millimeters. Finish the sketch. Now you can see what we've got, look. You've got a circle at right angles to the arm. So now it's a question of using the sweep tool to click on there to select your profile, then select the path, which is that one, and there's our arm done. Now if you've not done it by that method before, you might find it a bit strange, but basically whatever you're sweeping along a path, the template or the profile must be at right angles to the path, otherwise you can't sweep it. Now it'd be no good me drawing that circle down here where the original thing was. When I first went on the sketch, you have to draw it where the start point is. Questions?
Can you move the access point at all? So where you had your plane, sorry, the fact that it was so far away, is there not an easy way of moving the
the only reason it's so far away, John, is purely and simply I drew everything on this one page and wanted to move the arm out the way so that it didn't, because if you look, if I go onto this page, look, I've got the other stuff on there as well.
Okay.
So the only reason I drew the arm up there out the way was so it's out of the way of everything else I'm drawing and to give me room to maneuver. But you could draw it any way you like, obviously. The main point is, I mean, the other way of doing it, if you want another way of doing it, is you could end up doing it like this, because you've got to draw this circle at right angles to there. So that means the circle, if you like, is on this bottom plane. Now there's nothing stopping you constructing an offset plane. Where are we? I'm moving the offset plane to where you want to draw the circle, and then you can see you can actually go and draw on that plane directly.
Yeah, okay.
But so you can, so if you're not comfortable in selecting your plane, because when you draw on a plane, you're drawing on that plane, but it can be up or down from that plane. And if it's that plane, it can be that way of the plane, and that's where it gets a bit confusing. And that's why, if you noticed, when I done that circle, I then put myself back into a 3D mode, as it were, so I could see where the end of it was. Even though I was drawing on that base plane down there, because I then clicked on the point on the end of this blue line here, let's turn that body off of it, because I clicked on the end of there, I ended up drawing it there. So in space, if you like, whoops, you can see I've drawn it up there, but it's actually on that plane, but it's offset it. Now I could have done it by offsetting a plane and drawing on the offset plane, but if you go into 3D mode, you can just highlight where you want to draw and draw it. Now, if I'd have chosen let's just, to try and emphasize that, let me just go a bit different, and let me just choose one of these upright planes for the moment, if I can get at it. Let's say that one, okay? And I go up there again, and this time I draw a circle. I'll go on an angle, and I'll go in there and I'll draw the circle. Can you see how it's drawn the circle this time? It's in the same plane as the plane I chose. So when you choose a plane, that's the plane you're drawing in. You don't have to physically draw on the mesh itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's where people can get a bit confused, because a lot of them will draw, they will select the plane, they'll have the mesh and they'll draw on that mesh. And that's fair enough. But it doesn't stop you drawing off the mesh up in space somewhere, but you're still on the same plane, X, Y, Y, Z, whatever. Does that clear? You know, I'm sorry if it sounds a bit confusing, but this is where the 3D bit gets a bit awkward. Okay, you happy with that, everybody? So that gives us our, where's it gone? Our body there, okay? Now what I'd like to look at now is these little embellishments. Now obviously I couldn't add these embellishments in the same way I did on the pillar because this arm was not revolved. And since it was not revolved, I couldn't draw these in. So I have to add these afterwards. So this is why I want to introduce you to tangent planes. And we'll see how we go with this one. So if we go back to our arm, which is there. So what we'll do is, first of all, and again, not the scale, we'll draw, let's put sketches on, and we'll draw on here to revolve around. So first thing I'm going to do is construct, and I wanted to construct here a tangent plane, or a plane at an angle. It really doesn't matter. Let's do a plane at an angle. And I'm going to go in now and select the blue line. Because if you remember, the blue line is the center point of our arm. So I click on there. And if I highlight the plane, and it's at 0 degrees, and there we have a plane, look, in there. But that's no good. I want the plane going the other way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back, and this time we'll do the same thing. Plane at angle, and we'll stick the same line. But this time, of course, we want 90 degrees. Now I can type it in, or I can go over here and move it. That's handy if you're not sure where you want the degree. So that's at 90 degrees. So you can see now I've got a construction plane through the middle of that post. So now I can go up here now, and I can go on my sketch, and I'm sketching on here. Whoops, that's what happens. You don't use the 0 point, John. So what I'm going to do up here now is draw my 1 millimeter circle, and I'm going to draw my box like that, and then I am going to draw, and this is totally not the scale. I can see that now. Okay. And then I'm going to draw in the center of that a circle. Whoops, wrong command. Circle command. And at the same time, I'm going to put a couple of fillets on here and on that side and finish. And that's my sketch I've got. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to use the revolve command to take that and that one, and to revolve them around the blue line. And there they are there. This one now, I'm going to do it on ordinary extrude, and I'm going to do it on both sides, symmetrical, and we'll pull it out a short bit if you like. So what we've got now, apart from the scaling, is that bit there, okay? But if you notice, because the way I've done it, I've now got a slight gap there. So that's easily done, because we just highlight that bit in there, extrude, and drag it down into the drawing. Okay, now it's exactly the same thing is done for this side, and exactly the same thing we do over here. And when it's finished, then we just move it down into place.